Hi, this is Randy Larocque with Sinister One Podcast from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. We're going to be talking about all things music with musicians, photographers, producers, engineers, and luthiers. So stay tuned and let's get this started, shall we? Hey everybody, this is Randy with Sinister One Podcast, and I am here live at location in a Wolf Bar in beautiful Maple Ridge, British Columbia, and here I am with Mr. Wayne Powell from Labyrinth. Welcome to the show, Wayne.
Thanks, Randy.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
What do you want to know?
Let's start with Labyrinth, because you've been doing this for a while with different bands. Let's talk about your current band, Labyrinth. How long have you guys been together for?
We've been over 4 years now.
4 years, yeah.
First year we were a 4-piece and parted ways with the other guitarists. So really only 3 years per se, because we kind of had to start over again.
Yeah.
And playing around the Lower Mainland, having a lot of fun, meeting other bands, and having a great time with such a band as Heathanz Sinz. We're working on an album right now.
Nice.
Hopefully it'll be out probably summer-ish. That's where we're at right now. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. So we played a few shows together, and I always have a hard time trying to describe somebody's music to somebody who's never heard it. Right? So if I say, yeah, I'm playing a gig with Labyrinth, oh yeah, what do they sound like? Because there's so many sub-genres nowadays. How would you describe your music?
That's always a hard question.
Isn't it?
Obviously there's metal roots, it's all rooted, or a lot of it's rooted in thrash metal. It's probably a lot of my influence. There's some punk in there, some punk things. What we do tend to strive to sound a little different, Just like try to write things that are a bit unconventional, make it a little weird. Weird is good, It's really hard to do. I call ourselves alt metal.
Yeah.
I think that's really the only way I can describe it.
Well, because there's so many subgenres. Like if you go to try to put your information somewhere and hit that little drop arrow, there's like 30 different subgenres, right? So, yeah, because I was trying to describe it to somebody, and I was like, it sounds like a heavy thrash version of Black Sabbath. Because it has a very melodic, dark kind of sound to it.
Right, okay, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of dark themes, and there's stuff, though, that doesn't really even, it'll sway away from metal altogether.
Right, yeah.
But it definitely comes around to that basis. It's always been hard. I've never been a big fan of labels or subgenres and things like that. It's all rock and roll to me, but I understand why. You gotta categorize it somehow.
Well, because back in the 80s, if you said you were metal, it was Judas Priest, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath,
exactly, yeah.
That kind of stuff. Now, when you say metal, I talk to some friends that don't listen to metal at all. I say I play metal, they think, blah, 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 blah.
Right, yeah.
But I'm like, well, there's so many other different subgenres of metal, right? The black metals, the doom metals, the whatever,
It's
right?
a huge spectrum.
It's massive. It doesn't even sound like it's in the same category.
No,
right?
it really isn't. If you listen to some death metal stuff, it's like newer death metal stuff, and you listen to Iron Maiden, it's completely different. It's a totally different thing, right? I like music from all of those genres, to try and pinpoint stuff, it's always so hard.
And it's different from the stuff you listen to the stuff you play, because when you write stuff, you have a sound in your head, and you got to try and take that sound that's in your head and try to put it to music with other guys in the band too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And being a three-piece, one thing I love about three-piece bands is there's a lot of definition in the instruments. Even with us, we play a 5-piece, so we have 2 guitar players, and there's times when Julie and I will play something, and either one of us can kind of get lost, or it blends together, whereas with 3-piece, when you play your rhythm or your leads, it comes through like that.
Right. I really like that definition too, because there's a lot of clarity. I love two guitars in a band because I love to lead. We just didn't really want to have another person after us. We just work so well as a 3-piece. We're thinking, do we really want to bring in another personality and go through it all again? So what I did.
That's a huge part of it, right? Is that gelling, right?
Absolutely. And we're flowing so well like this, we just said, screw it, we're gonna stay this way. And I bought myself a harmonizer pedal, and so there's my twin leads when I want them,
Perfect.
right? So
gotta love technology.
Yeah, it's not really cheating in my eyes, it's
a lot of people do it, right?
A different way to do it, right?
Yeah, it just fattens up the sound sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So who would you say is like one of your biggest influences?
I mean, guitar-wise, Hendrix is probably my favorite guitarist. But, I go back to a lot of classic rock bands that I grew up on, Zeppelin, Sabbath, all the same standards that most people listen to. But at the same time, I listen to a lot of different stuff. I listen to like XTC, like New Wave music. Post-punk era is one of my favorite things. Old school punk is great. But then some days I'll on, some jazz. I'm all over the map.
Well, music is very mood influencing. You can either, depending on the mood, is the type of music you want to listen to. It also comes the other way too, is when you're writing. If you go to pick up your guitar to write a song and you're in a certain mood, that's going to reflect in how you write your song.
Absolutely. Yeah. It does. It is very mood driven. Absolutely.
For sure.
It's great playing with these guys because I'll write something at home, come up with a few riffs and put like somewhat of a song structure together, and I'll think, it's okay. I'm not too sure though. But then these guys will come in and they'll add their parts. Everybody here writes their own parts, and they just make it like 10 times better.
100%.
So something that I thought was not going to be so great, all of a sudden it's a really good song.
100%.
So that's always rewarding, right?
Yeah.
We don't really leave much on the editing room floor, so to speak. So,
Well, and that's the challenge too, is when you're trying to put something together, everybody's got their sort of idea on how it's going to go as well, right?
Right, exactly.
Oh, we're getting into sound check time. Move the camera a little closer now. Zooming in.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, we were talking about technology. You said you have a harmonizer, so you split your sound sometimes.
Yeah.
But I've seen your gear and you run simple. You don't need a lot of fancy schmancy bullshit, right? It's straight raw.
Yeah, I've never been one for lots of pedals. I like to see what we can get out of it. Minimal. It's just the way I like it. There was a day where I did have a different setting for every song. I had 6 or 7 minutes. I just didn't really like doing the dancing. I just seemed to cover up my concentration. It just didn't flow well for me.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. I used to have 13 pedals.
Yeah.
And the more you get, the more you distort your original vision of your sound. Because guitar players especially, we have the certain tone in our sound that we strive for.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's always evolving. Just when you get, that's the sound I like.
Yeah.
Then one day you're fiddling, farting around, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, that's pretty cool too. And I think that also evolves with every album too, right? So how many albums do you have?
Well, we're still working on our first one right now. All the material's there. It's all pretty much, it's all tracked except for a couple of guitar solos. Mostly mixing at this point. It's all done out of my home. It's all done on hard disk.
Nice.
Speaking of technology, I'm not really one for computers. I have Cubase. But I really like to do things old school. I just like to keep it nice and raw. Not that there's anything wrong with that. People can use like 20 pedals if they want, if they're good at it, and it's great. For me, I like to keep it nice and raw.
Well, guys, we're going to do part 2 of this later. They're getting ready to do some sound check coming up right now. This is Wayne Powell with the Labyrinth. If you have not seen them live, get your fucking ass out there and see them. I guarantee you're going to enjoy them.
Some rats and fuses, eh?
I'm here with Frankie SCARZ. We're out in beautiful Maple Ridge, British Columbia at the Wolf Bar. Frankie, you and I, we played a few gigs together, right?
Yes, sir.
How do you describe your music? That's always the fucking tough one, right? Because how do you describe your music?
Yeah, that's great.
So let's pretend that nobody here has watched one of your shows. Shame. How would you describe your music to people who've never heard your music before?
Yeah, I would say if you dig sort of the traditional British metal from the 70s and 80s, like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, the clean vocal, and no more guitar harmonies at the moment right now. We just went down to a 3-piece. I felt it necessary to sort of do the leads on my own now. But yeah, if you want to think traditional metal, but with sort of an original twist with even doomy Sabbathy influence, I feel like it's a bit between a Sabbath and a Maiden feel for sure. Down along those lines. Yeah.
No, so let's talk about that, because I was talking about that with Wayne as well, with a 3-piece band. Sorry, I'm getting too fucking hot here, Frank. He's getting me all hot and bothered here, right?
This man's working too hard.
No doubt, man. Must be that Brute 33 you got going on here, bro. So yeah, we were talking about a 3-piece band because some of my favorite bands back in the days were 3-piece bands. As far as, at least as instruments go. Exactly, like Motorhead, one of my all-time favorite bands.
Yeah, same here.
But I mean, you look at Sabbath, I mean, they had 3 instruments.
Essentially,
right? Plus a singer. So
in a sense,
exactly.
Yeah.
The one thing that I like about a 3-piece band is you get more clarity on the instruments.
Well, and Carl, our drummer, said it best too. He said, now the 4th member is space. And like, true enough. And like, it's like, you think of these things yourself. And when someone says it, you're like, oh yeah, I knew that. Why didn't I say that?
I could totally see you putting a fucking teddy bear tying it to the drum kit,
yeah,
right? Saying that's
yeah.
your 4th member, right?
Yeah. Name space.
So let's talk about influences. You're roughly the same age as me. I'm probably a couple years older. But we come from the same. Yeah, exactly. We come from the same.
We were cut from the same cloth.
Exactly.
Yes.
Some of your biggest influences in your music.
Oh well, definitely I'm a Maiden guy for sure. Motorhead, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest. Definitely, yeah. The twin guitar thing was like, when you first hear that harmonizing guitar sound when you're 12, 13 years old.
Yeah, back when Iron Maiden had 2 guitar players.
You're just like, you're like, what is this, right? And you listen to it on repeat and you know what? Like, even now to this day, I still listen to the same music. You don't get tired of it, and you hear little different things that you didn't hear when you were 12. So
a lot of that comes from technology too, because I mean, I remember when I first got my first Judas Priest album. I think it was Sad Wings of Destiny. I was listening to it on a record player, and the sound quality was only so good back then, right?
True.
And when you do listen to the dual guitars, like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, and you're trying to learn it as a kid trying to play these songs, it's difficult because they layer them so well. You have a hard time differentiating which one is which, right?
Right?
Whereas now with modern technology, you listen to it on CDs and now like the streaming platforms, all these remasters.
I was just gonna say that the remasters, everything is like remixed, that kind of thing, levels and all that. And then you get to know a band too. You get to know the style of playing. Like, oh, I know who's soloing right now, and then now the other guitar player just jumped in and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. And even Lemmy said that I love Motorhead too, right? So like the blues, I love bluesy stuff, like hard blues, rough vocals too. I never got really into the guttural stuff too much. Maybe In Flames, I got my In Flames beanie here.
There you go.
So, I do appreciate the heavy metal stuff too. I had a phase of that and I kind of went back. I know that that's not really my bossy. But Lemmy, I segued there. Lemmy said it really well one time in an interview. He said, you know, the best stuff to you is always kind of the first stuff you hear because it made that impact. And then, you know, you hear things along the way that you get into and then maybe you get out to. But it's like that first album or that first band that you hear that you really love, that's the one that sticks. That's the one that speaks to you. And that's what you're always trying to hear when you listen to something else. And that's why, too, I think a lot of people get really picky with their music. Like, oh, you're too picky.
Especially with guitar players.
Because they're looking for that sound that they heard that time that spoke to them in that way.
Yep.
And they're waiting for that. So it's like, yeah, this was good, this is good. But it doesn't stand with me.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And that's how I see bands and music that you like, and then your influences from there.
Absolutely.
And then when that's what you hear, that's what you will play as well. You know? And there's a little bit of you in there too. At least there should be.
Yeah. But I mean, as a guitar player, I mean, we always have that sound that we want our guitars to sound like. Because when a Judas Priest song goes on, you know it's Judas Priest. When Motorhead plays, you know it's Motorhead.
You know the
right?
tones.
When AC/DC plays, you know it's a fucking AC/DC song. So we are always striving to try and get that sound. But even those people modify their tones just a little bit, and that comes along, I think, with technology and all that. Because I know my sound on my guitar, I got it now exactly where I want. I had it like that for a while, but it's like, it's still not the sound in my head, you know what I mean? It's kind of a cross between, you know, Rammstein's guitar sound and the Black Label Society's.
Well, yeah, and I've noticed you kind of going through some different amps in the last couple of years, which is good. Don't stay comfortable. Speaking for myself, that Black Star head that I've been playing that since 2014. That amp, that head has been stolen and reacquired.
Nice.
Unbelievable. And my wah pedal. Found 6 months later in a hot shop in Genesis Island.
That's too funny.
I couldn't believe I found it. Well, actually, a friend of mine found it. And he sent a picture over. Is that your head? And I looked at it. And I knew it was mine because of a little tear in the
Rolex?
I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding. I was like, no way, that's my head. And then I looked a little closer. Anyways, yeah, it was my head. And one of the Black Star slogans was just sound better. And when I tried it too, I wanted to try one. And I was gonna rent a Marshall for a tour, and then I saw Black Star in a long way. Oh fuck! I wanted to try one of these. Plug it in. It's like I think I'm gonna get this right now. And that's been the amp that I've played for 10 years.
Now, do you use the tube preamp? Like you go and use the amps distortion, natural distortion?
Yeah.
See, that's what I like. But that's why I was always striving to go through different amps. I went through a Randall phase, I went through a Mesa Boogie phase. I had a huge Fender.
I've had
Angle.
I've had the dual rack. I've actually never owned a Marshall. I've actually never owned one yet. They're so expensive still. Like
anything is expensive now. I mean, my rev was $3,600, right?
Yeah, but Black Star, and you probably know this. I probably told you this already. Like 4 or 5 guys from Marshall went off and started hand wiring new amps in the garage, and that's how Black Star started. So it's essentially a Marshall, but maybe a little bit different. Well, it is a little bit different, obviously. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more modernized. They got a really cool ISF control, which kind of goes from vintage to modern distortion. And you can go from, well, mine anyway, the Series 1100's got the wattage control too. Yeah. You can go from 10 watts to 100 watts.
Yeah,
you know,
I love that.
The thing is heavy as fuck and it's lopsided, but I love it.
That's the thing is, I mean, I love playing through my riff. I love playing through my 412 cab, but my back fucking hates me at the gig night. Yeah. You know, and that's why I kind of took on the whole modeling. So I went with the Nano Cortex.
Yeah.
I did a capture of my rev so I can take it with me anywhere I go now.
Oh yeah, technology.
It's technology, right? You know,
but you can still get, it's amazing, even the plugins you can record with. The plugins now,
they sound fucking
they
amazing.
sound really good.
Yeah. Yeah, my last album I recorded with STL Tone Hub.
Oh yeah.
And I used the Angle plugin because it sounded exactly like my Angle. Yeah. And I couldn't tell the difference. I did both tracks. I had to do one with the plug-in and one with the full-on mic of the cab and everything else. So I just couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
But my back sure fucked in.
That's it. Exactly. Right on, man. Yeah, well, I got a 212 now, so.
Yeah, I love my 212. That's my my back here. But they're still fucking heavy. They're still,
this one's
good
not
stuff
that
is, right?
Yeah, but no, I've been digging the 212. It definitely has the good tone too. Like it doesn't have the Celestians, I think. I forget what's in there actually. I actually got to pay that off. It's still on rental. It's been on rental for like a month and 2 months maybe longer. No, way longer than that. Fuck. Like from the summer, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm just gonna buy it.
Yeah, might as well at this point if you're. So, but I mean that's the one thing I like as well is I used to just buy gear and then go play it and go, holy fuck, this was a bad mistake. Now you can rent that shit.
Yeah.
Try it out. It's like renting a car, right?
Yeah, you gotta try different things. I wanted to get a JCM 800 just to have it was either that or a Laney 50 watt. Oh, or what is it? A high watt.
Oh yeah, high watt. That old British sound. Yeah.
Which is almost like a plexi, really. You gotta just drive the fucking pre and until it breaks up. And then you can boost it. Like the Hendrix head, right?
Yeah, I mean the thing is, a lot of the local clubs in Vancouver and all that kind of stuff, people always say, oh, you don't need 120 watt head. No, I don't, but yes, I do.
Yeah. but you know what? Sometimes the 50 watters don't have the headroom to.
Well, see, that's the thing, as I say, is like, I mean, the one thing I like about mine is mine sounds great at lower volumes. I can put my levels, my gain at noon, and put it at, 2, and it's plenty loud enough, and it's got enough drive.
Yeah, and that's the thing too with that Blackstar Series 1. It has that wattage power output adjustment. If you're playing a room kind of like this, I can keep it at 50 or 1, 2 o'clock, it's probably about 60 to 75 watts. Or I can go back to 40, or crank it to 100. Right?
Yeah, play to the room, right?
Or if I'm playing a little tea house, I could crank it right back down to 5.
You go grab some pizza across the street before the music starts.
Oh, they're going for pizza.
Pizza. You're gonna record everything?
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, boys. This has been Sinister One Podcast. Sitting here with Frankie SCARZ. If you have not gone and seen these guys play live, we are going to be playing with them in May.
In 19.
May 19th, it's in Princeton. Come down and check it out. We'll be playing with Wayne and Labyrinth as well. So if you haven't been down to Princeton, it's a fucking lot of fun down there. If you haven't seen SCARZ or Labyrinth, get your asses down there. Come check it out. And of course, we're going to be down there making some fucking noise as well. This is Randy with the Sinister One Podcast. See you the fuck later.